You're watching ABC 36 on your side. Good Morning Kentucky with Lee Cruz and Haley Harmon.
All right, welcome back. Excuse me. Thank God a pediatrician is here. 6:49. We're talking kids with Dr. Caitlynn. It's a Lexington pediatrician, Dr. Caitlynn Iddings. And today's topic is night terrors in toddlers and how to recognize them, but also what you need to do as a parent if they do occur. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
So is this some different than just a nightmare, or is this a kid who's freaking out, doesn't want to be alone? What are we talking about?
Yeah, so night terrors and nightmares are very different, and it depends on kind of when they occur in the sleep cycle. So night terrors tend to happen in early sleep cycle, in that non-REM cycle, which sometime between 2 to 4 hours after a kid falls asleep. And the nightmares tend to happen more in that REM cycle, which is later in the sleep, kind of in that 5 to 8 hour range. Nightmares, kids will wake up, right? Because they've had a bad dream. They'll wake up, sometimes come find you, or they'll be crying. You'll go in, they're with it. They can talk with you. Yeah, I had this bad dream. This is what happened. Night terrors, on the other hand, because they're in that non-REM cycle, the kid is not really awake when it occurs.
Oh.
Yeah, so they'll wake up screaming, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? You'll go in there, and usually they might have their eyes open, but they're kind of staring. You can't converse with them, and they're just, it can last anywhere from a minute all the way up to 40 minutes, depending on the kid.
Well, that's got to be more frightening for the parent than the child.
Yeah, and so the kid will wake up the next day and not even remember it. It doesn't affect their sleep, but it's the parent. You're sitting there, like I said, it's usually kind of probably right around the time that you might be falling asleep. Let's say your kid goes to bed at 7:30, 2 to 4 hours later, you might have just started to fall asleep and then wake up to your kid screaming, right? So yeah, we do recommend that, of course, you go in and check on them.
Sure.
Make sure that they're not gonna jump out of bed or end up hurting themselves, because some of them will do sleep talking and sleep walking with their night terrors. Right. But make sure that the room is safe, that there's nothing they can sort of trip over or somehow get out of the room or fall down the stairs or anything like that. And then you usually just kind of, like I said, watch and make sure that they go back to sleep, because they will, right? Usually it'll stop and they'll kind of just lay down and go back to normal sleep.
So what causes this?
So there's a wide range of things. Some of it is genetic. So if you, as a parent, had night terrors frequently when you were a toddler, and that is kind of the peak range, is between 1.5 and 12 years of age, but really more in that toddler range. So if you have family history of night terrors, more commonly to happen in your child, but usually it's some sort of disruptive thing. So they've gotten poor sleep. You went on vacation, their whole sleep routine got messed up. They missed their nap that day, or they're sick, right? Or they have a fever or something like that. Those are sort of things that can usually trigger them.
So I always understood sleep is sort of a two-part thing, where it's I don't want to say unconscious, but where your subconscious sort of takes over. And then your brain is supposed to provide you with some sort of paralytic that you don't get up and walk around, which some people lack, and that's why they sleepwalk, or maybe even have night terrors where they're screaming and doing things that they're not even aware of.
Right. Yeah, and so usually when you do get into that deep sleep, that's when you're not going to really be moving. You'll have that rapid eye movement that's associated with dreaming. Those are nightmares, right?
That's a complete shutdown.
But this is still when your body is not into that phase yet. You're in non-REM. So like I said, it can be very distressing to parents. Usually it's not distressing to the kids. But usually what we recommend is, first of all, keep a sleep diary. Kind of figure out, what's been going on. Have we been missing naps? Do we need to go to bed a little earlier, a little later? When are they occurring? If you can figure out, oh, they always seem to occur right at 11:15 at night, you can go in about 30 minutes before they would occur and just gently wake the child. Don't get them fully awake, but you can kind of say, hey, I'm just checking on you.
Some reassurance.
You doing okay? And sometimes that'll break that cycle. It won't kick into that night terror phase. So that's one thing you can try. If it's happening very frequently, we do recommend you come see the pediatrician, because there can be other things like sleep apnea or restless leg, or other things that can be going on medically that can be triggering them.
Interesting. Dr. Caitlynn Iddings, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. All right, guys, stay with us. We got more coming up in just a moment.